It's a great opportunity to be going to describe the humans and how the humans define themselves, and what we can and how we can define the humans, the culture, the thinking, and how we relate this to the universe in general. So Case came up with the term the Humaniverse and the human condition. Let's know more. Case, could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Keith Seland. I have a dual career going right now. My earlier career, so to speak, I have received, or I've earned a couple of bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, MBA, and I'm a certified public accountant. My current morphing position and career is as a ufologist, and I have obtained and studied for over a decade and have obtained an advanced graduate degree, an MED degree in science education.
And why did you shift into this direction currently?
I'd had a lifelong interest in unidentified flying objects, which today's generation calls them unidentified aerial phenomenon. So there's kind of a morphing. The field has been around for many decades, but more contemporary terminology being used for it. I was a child, and my older brother and I, we were watching a science fiction show. It was called, what was it called? Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. And it was a story about UFOs. And I happened to ask my brother at the end of it, I said, what would you do if a UFO landed? And he said, I'd turn around and run like hell. And that struck me as really not so much odd, but wrong. We've been grown up and have entertained ourselves often with the Hollywood entertainment production of science fiction and E.T. Wars, War of the Worlds, Independence Day, those types of things. And, you know, I knew that all existed, but there just seemed to be more to the scope of dealing with interactions or potential contacts with advanced intelligent beings. And I've always been a science geek, so to speak. I chose to go into accounting originally because I had an aptitude for numbers and just went in that direction, but never lost the sciencey geeky part of me. And so throughout the years, I had gone into career, and as all of us do as we start families and earn our careers, and that we get pretty busy with that. But about 12 years ago or so, I started diving a little bit more into the ufology, the experience, and I've learned about the many experiences that many people through history and into today from all walks of life had with these UAPs. And my interest just grew and mushroomed to where I feel that I wanted to pursue helping and explaining to other people, making sense of this phenomenon, and maybe moving us towards a future to where, if for those that believe that intelligent life exists elsewhere, that eventually there's going to be contact, I want to be an advocate towards that end. So that's basically how I interested.
Basically, what is a UFO?
If one was to read in the dictionary, Merriam-Webster or dictionary.com, whatnot, they get about a 5-word definition, the study of UFOs. And that just seems too simplistic and doesn't cover any of the landscape of it. So I wrote up a 1-sentence definition of that, which basically says, the study of the nature, origin, landscape, and features relevant to observed, unidentifiable, aerial, landed, and or submersible physical objects and their occupants of any. I feel that not only creates a better general concept, but also dives into a lot of details that will cover varying nuances of I'll call it a profession. It's a profession like any of the other sciences, natural sciences or social sciences or whatnot. It's got its own, but it's interdisciplinary. It encompasses and uses concepts from a wide range of not only the sciences, but the social sciences, which means humans in contact and relation with other intelligences.
Why is this field important? Why is it important?
I lost the audio.
Yeah, can you hear me, Case?
Why are they important? I believe that coming towards a first contact, and let me clarify a definition. First contact to a lot of people can mean well, just an observation or an experience where an unidentified craft lands and an occupant gets out. I'm advocating more than just that kind of a superficial first contact. I'm advocating for what I call, the term that I use is enduring global acknowledgement and a possible relationship. So that goes beyond the first contact, but I recognize that because it's not generally accepted that we've had contact yet, I bring in the concepts of the EGA, enduring global acknowledgement, and that means that the whole world will generally accept that contact has been initiated and communications and discussions have been made and possibly moving towards a relationship. So it's important to I think have humankind's knowledge base expanded. This is going to be one of the, if not the most significant discoveries of our species' existence. We're going to learn so much more, obviously, about the intelligences that we do meet, but I think we're going to learn an awful lot more about ourselves and as a species and the animal kingdom that we live with. We are a species of the opinion that we are the top of the food chain. We're anthropocentric. We are under creation from either religious aspects or natural aspects. We are the most intelligent. We are the chosen ones, so to speak. And we have to dispel that if our destiny lies in advancing to the stars or delving into the universe. I mean, we may have to leave our planet Earth at some point someday to survive. It's existential. So I think that learning about ufology and that we are going to learn so much more about ourselves. And I think that's almost kind of a prerequisite in getting around to maybe planning a design for contact and whatnot, that in the preparations and the planning, we may automatically learn so much more about ourselves as a species and the need for us as species to connect with each other. We're living today with so much war and strife amongst us in the various communities that we live in. There's so much tension between all the communities that we come in contact with, that I think in preparing, working on these plans, that I think we're going to overcome those hurdles too. So it's a learning experience for us, as well as the discovery of other intelligences.
My other question is, has there been real cases of contact between the humans, between the people and these objects? Are there recorded cases scientifically?
There has been so much, and this is through history and up through today, and amongst the most diverse parts of our culture across many different, oh, how will I put this? People from all walks of life had so many experiences. That actually is towards my first publication. That's the case study that I have had investigated and published. It's a catalog of many hundreds of cases of varying levels, from just sighting observations to actual experiences by the contactees. Someone that has had an experience in the field that has come in contact with uh, ETIs, extraterrestrial intelligences. Um, it's rated on a system of varying degrees, but my point is that most of my book one is a case study developed with a catalog of these case studies, which includes chapters about U.S. presidents that have had experiences, world leaders, like I said, world explorers, Christopher Columbus, Alexander the Great, religious aspects, normal people like myself, airline pilots, military. The evidence has been built up so much to where the question becomes, with all of this evidence, does there really need to be more study or detailed and nuanced study involved in getting some answers to answering the questions, are we alone or not?
Yeah, exactly. So the next question is, why is it important for humans to expand our knowledge of the natural universe?
Okay, yeah, I think we touched on that in that this will be one of the most, it'll be a Copernican level discovery for us that we're not alone. And let me differentiate too that there may be a little bit of confusion. People may say, well, we're going to discover microbes on Mars or another planet in our solar system. This discussion here is about intelligent extraterrestrial life. So again, going back to what I had said previously, that there may come a need that humankind will have to leave our planet for whatever reason, existentially. We're going to need to have that knowledge to be able to expand into the universe and survive as a species, but also too, and along the way, that we will be learning so much more about ourselves. And I believe that maybe this is a way that if there is an ET out there, and I still will say if, for those people that don't want to have this enduring global acknowledgement of the existence, I just want to say that it will be, we can, as our most important learning experience about ourselves and helping us come together better as a species, that we will not only learn about the stars themselves and other planets and how to survive on them, but we will learn more about ourselves. And we're doing the double duty of being able to do that work in a planning stage and a design for say when a first contact comes. I mean, we are in this situation, we probably, with defining the level of our technology the way it is and comparing it with what an ETI technology will be, they'll be more advanced as us. Therefore, they more likely will be the explorers. We will be the indigenous. As an example, let's say when the ancient Romans populated and spread out, or Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas, they were the explorers. And we have, as a species and as a library, we have knowledge of that from that perspective. from the perspective of first contact and EGA with an ETI. I hate the government acronyms, but they are shorter. So, we're going to be, chances are we will be the contactees, or we will be the indigenous that they will visit and meet with us. So we don't have much of a blueprint from that perspective. We do, but we seem to be, with our anthropocentrism, the headstrong with the explorer viewpoint and aspect of it. So looking at it from the other viewpoint, working on a plan and design might help us a lot in that way also.
So my point here is that all of the achievements and the accomplishments of the humans until now do not give you the opinion that we are the superior side, not the inferior side. What else do we need to achieve to be the superior side?
The superior side? Just a lot of learning. Again, just looking at ourselves as differing communities of species. At this point, and I don't want to get socio-political in any event, but a couple of statistics that I've got listed in my books. We're a civilization of, at this point in time, 234 different socio-political nations. The number of languages that we speak is over 7,000, 8,000 different languages. We have, it seems to be amongst when our community encounters another community in whatever aspect, it seems that there's not a lot of, oh, how will I put this? I get to a point in my second book, my current book, about what's called the golden rule. And we can go into that later, but about that, it basically just says do unto others, and it has a landscape and an overview of being good towards each other. We as a species don't seem to be doing that very well. We have inventions, and we seem to, like for instance, nuclear power. Boy, that can be great for powering the world, electrical needs and whatnot. And as soon as that was created, the diversion went to, ooh, we can also make bombs out of it. And that's just fatalistic, I think, for lack of a better word. That we can learn a lot from this planning to connect as amongst the varying different communities, but we're all the same. I liken it this way: human beings as a species. Say you needed a life-saving operation, and there was only a certain other human being in a different community, but you didn't ideologically get along with the members of that community. But wouldn't that person and the golden rule be introduced here to where that person could save your life, or flip the perspective, you could be saving that person's life? That's what I mean in one aspect of the connectivity that we need to learn as a species, which will help us advance not only our civilization, but in the dual purpose as a potential help aid in planning and designing for this first contact in EGA.
Great. Yeah, you coined, or you made the term the Humaniverse. What is that, and how did it help you?
I created the term in where I saw my career going in this field. That basically was the best way, simplest way to describe the nature of what my writings are going to be and what my hopefully teachings are going to be. I would like to hopefully educate and the people from all over the world, and to help them come together, become more connected. We as a species, again, have in another way become disconnected with our planet, the geophysical aspects of planet Earth, as evidenced from our polluting of the earth and the degradation of our environment. And we seem to be continually spiraling down in that direction. So the connectivity concept, again, holds that aspect also towards the objective of us learning more about ourselves, about the universe, and the potential for that ETI that we may come in contact with at some point in the future. So I hope to be able to educate people and make them aware, get them thinking. That's the whole thing.
You suggest that it's important to prepare for the first contact with these entities. Why?
Again, and I think in the points that have been covered so far, we're going to learn an awful lot about ourselves. We'll be killing the proverbial killing two birds with one stone thing if we learn more about ourselves and we're actively participating in that will become part of the plan and design for when the ETI does come. It's not 100% statistically that the ETI will be the ones to visit us. We may, in our near future trips to the moon or Mars or in our solar system, come across ETI representatives. We don't know that yet. We're not advanced enough in our far distance SETI communication or telescopic observations and whatnot to be able to stand on Earth and say, oh, there is life on Mars there. We have to go there to display our instruments and seek out potential in that way. But while we're there, I mean, we're planning within the next 10 to 15 years to make trips to Mars. We may find something along the way there. So it's not 100% certain that we will be the indigenous. We may be the explorers like Columbus or the Romans or whatnot. But in any event, we've done a very poor job in we've done a very poor job of playing. Example of this is us living through the coronavirus pandemic. This disease had been known for years. All of a sudden, it hit us like just a Holocaust almost. And this is universal, planet-wide, how we were ineffective and unable to address it right away. And I can go back to other experiences in the US, the preparations for World War II. The US knew about potential for Japan to declare war years before Pearl Harbor ever happened. Once Pearl Harbor happened, well, then we decided to get a plan and design going. What I'm trying to do here is let's change the aspect a little bit. Let's change the progression. Let's be pro forma, to use an accounting statement. Let's be pro forma in designing a plan for something as important as this. We may learn so many things about details about how to respond or how to interact with the ETI. We'll have already done that in advance instead of waiting until the event happens and then we're left scrambling trying to figure out answers to or avenues to go on to make a progression through the situation. Let's be proactive instead of waiting and being reactive to the thing. That's my basic point.
What are the main points you discuss in your two books? And what are your two books?
I'll hold up I have a book currently. It's getting ready to be published. I just, in fact, within the past couple of days, got the notice that the launch date is going to be around October the 12th. But I'll hold up here. Here's the book cover for it. The Humaniverse Guide to First Contact with ET. And what that title is a study of, again, getting ready, preparations for beginning a plan and design for it. But I look at it through the aspect of what can the sciences of theology, philosophy, and social science ways of thinking, how can they contribute towards helping to assist in designing a plan of action, so to speak? The only, in the literature, the only plans or developments that have taken place seem to be amongst government, military, and the natural scientists, basically astronomy and the SETI people. SETI is an acronym for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And then they're the people that they have the radio telescopes pointed in the sky to listen for messages. That's as far as that goes. And it's parochial and it's pretty limited when talking and discussing about planning for a potential first contact and an EGA with them. So the Humaniverse Guide to First Contact first explores us as a species, and I mentioned the centrisms, the anthropocentrism, egocentrism. It kind of discusses our place within our planet. Then I take a very detailed look at the history of what's called either cosmic plurality or the plurality of worlds. As long as recorded history has existed as far back, humans have looked to the sky, and it was very existential in the early days, not just more of a hobby as it might be today, but humans depended on their lives for astronomical observations and whatnot. And the most logical inferences and human thinking from those developments were, well, are there others like us? And that progressed and evolved all the way through to today. And the debate over the cosmic plurality or plurality of worlds began in ancient Greece. Democritus, Axiomander, Thales of Miletus, Aristotle, Plato, they were all active in this debate. Are we alone? Are we not alone? And that's been carried right through to today, where it's now termed cosmic plurality is the term that's used now, this generational thing. But the debate still goes on. And the debate is where in society it's reasoned that science and religion, when it comes to extraterrestrial, science should be the one and government should be the one, and the military and the bombs and things like that, Independence Day, those aspects of it. My writing explores whether the ways of thinking presented by theology, philosophy, and the natural sciences, which are not natural, social sciences, which social meaning human beings and their relations with their environment and whatnot. Can those fields and ways of thinking and reasoning be effective in assisting the human effort in planning and designing for this? So I take a survey of the world's major religions. I go through and what their basic constituency and their structures are, and how they relate to their views on ETI, extraterrestrial intelligence. Then I bring us toward to a conclusion to where I mention the golden rule, which questions can come up about ET. Maybe they're looking down on us, and all they see are our bombs, our atom bombs being dropped off, and our wars and fighting with each other and everything. Well, we have a side that's innately, and I argue innately, a good side, in that through history, all of these world's major religions have developed independently the notion of this golden rule, which basically says do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's as simple as that. I don't think one has to go real deeply. Philosophers have gone way too deep into dissecting varying examples of that. I think they've lost some of the general meaning of what the entire sentence means for us as species and as communities connecting and getting along with each other. And maybe that's an aspect that if there is an ET looking down on us and seeing our bombs, maybe they don't see our aspects of the goodness that people have, and it's alive and well. It's just, it's not practiced necessarily as much maybe today as it could be. But again, that ties back into my advocacy and discussions about the planning and design, and merging the reasoning and ways of thinking that theology and philosophy and the social sciences can help in aiding the government and the military in developing a relationship with an ET. It's not just all about bombs or whatever. This is going to be, if it happens, this is going to be about species getting along with each other and developing relationships for whatever reason. So the book does go through all of those things in pretty good detail. And one thing I did learn from that, though, too, is that in my investigations of the historical aspects of the debate, that this dichotomy that's been created today, that science and religion don't get along, I prove that false, in that so many of the great names in our history have been both scientists and religious people on both sides of the issue. So it's really not a debate over science versus religion, over necessarily we're alone or we are populated and there is a plurality. There's so much intermix there that breaks down any argument about the notion of science and religion are incompatible, like oil and water, that they can never. I pretty much advocate that they both can merge very well, and that they're probably required to be merged, to where then they can all assist each other in creating this plan and design. So that's basically the premise and the work through of my writing for this. And like I said, it'll be out, rollout day will be about the 12th of October coming up.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What would you
Did
like?
you ask about my first book?
Of course. So my my question is, what would you like to see changed in the people's mentalities and ways of thinking to appreciate and look at this topic and this area more positively?
I'll just mention real quick with my first book. I'll hold it up real quick.
Yeah.
And that came out last year. Real quick, in this book, this is the library, the catalog of case studies. What I'd like people to learn from this, objectives. The first part of the book is a detailed study of the scientific methodology. That was my thesis for my MED degree. I wrote about the scientific method, the catalog about the ET, the case study. That was the case study of it. But people will learn the scientific methodology, the steps that researchers use to explore problems and situations. And every one of us have many problems in our everyday lives that could be helped by having an organized methodology together to be able to answer their questions, make better, effective decisions. And then I threw the case study in there as an expansion of that. When my faculty and student advisors heard that I was getting published, they waived the defense requirements. So I did be able to take that, those ideas, that learning, and apply it towards, again, helping to be able to connect with people in seeing your neighbor, so to speak, or people in those other communities in different ways. Instead of as competition, see them more as collaboratory and as a learning opportunity, that in knowing that in a particular situation, there are differing perspectives. And it seems only in maybe the natural sciences are there more definitive answers to a question or to a hypothesis. When it comes to abstract thinking, there's different viewpoints, and it all ties into having open minds. And that's a thread within my books also, is that people recognize to be open-minded and to be able to connect on that level with other people when discussing situations. But then also when it comes to the items related with developing towards first contact and EGA and whatnot, I think those people that are not believers that we are not alone, that there are intelligences out there, would find my first book very handy in the respects of the hundreds of cases and the millions of human beings that have had experiences throughout recorded history of these things. There's things going on. And for those debunkers or those people that don't believe, to have a little more of an open mind and look at this. And really too, where as I make this statement, I'm going to preface it by saying that science is a fantastic field, indispensable and a necessary part of our human condition, that construction of the human culture and civilization. But scientists, while they claim they should be open-minded, they work within their own closed-minded community, to the end in this conversation that a scientist may off the cuff make an explanation that, well, no, ETs don't exist, we're seeing clouds, or you were hallucinating, or pareidolia, or swamp gas, or whatever among the myriad of excuses that have been used to debunk or explain away other people's experiences throughout time. And like I said, and this will continue to go on. So make people aware of that, and then help them, ask them to have an open mind in creating this. It could be asked too, well, what does this mean for me? You're telling me as an individual to have an open mind and to maybe want to study this or whatever. That all ties in to the more direct ends of helping to plan and prepare for the contact with, from thinking and studying in those ways. We could develop new technologies, new instruments and devices, which will help our civilization, our way of thinking, having the plan and design in place. Or if another large event happens, maybe another pandemic or whatever, we'll have already done the exercise of the planning and designing for this, and we can apply that process towards other situations. So it's epistemology. It's learning a lot, not only about putting the plan together, but about learning about ourselves.
My other question is, like nowadays, as you have previously mentioned, we suffer from violence, we suffer from starvation, we suffer from misunderstanding and superiority between one another. How would people like go over these current issues that are controlling their lives, and then think about another and the higher being and the higher competition with other types of creatures? How can people escape this circle?
Are you bringing up what I'll call the rat race, the daily existence of everybody, where it seems that you're so competitive that when you're driving to work, you've got to race to get in front of that other person, when there's no meaning involved in anything to do with it or whatever. That ties to, I think, maybe some ideas of holism, that we as have been deemed the intelligent species on our planet, at least anyways, amongst the animal kingdom. Again, there's a lot to learn for us about ourselves and about our actions. It's nothing that we haven't already done before. In other words, with practicing daily habits of the golden rule, so to speak. It's not going to by participating in this rat race like we do. What are the ends to that? Basically make more money and stuff like that, and to be able to survive in that way. But more holistic aspects calls to mind that we should be opening our minds a little bit more to the experiences that we have with other people, dispelling some notions or moving away from this constant 24/7 rat race mentality and recognizing around our environment. And that gets back into the connectivity in and amongst the rat race. We have done some serious damage to our physical environment, our planet, our weather and climate and whatnot, and the resources that we're using. We could be better developing other more advanced technologies to restore our planet to a healthier situation. And I think amongst that, because we have to live in it, we'd be helping ourselves along the way. And also too, in learning and exploring more knowledge and holistic attitudes towards, there's other life forms on this earth, the animal kingdom. There's a concept called theriophilic, and that means it's an ancient term that means that humans recognize that the animal kingdom has intrinsic value, not just extrinsic in that, well, we use them to eat or whatever. Intrinsic value. The animals exist just because that they exist, and that alone creates value. This notion of intrinsic value adapted to our way of thinking and help to our open-mindedness, and maybe create a better society for all of us, one that will certainly be happier. I would ask a person, do you want to continue in the rat race? Would you be happier continuing in that the way it is, or maybe developing some more open-mindedness and connectedness to where you can then really enjoy and appreciate some of the reasons and purposes for living?
Yeah, that's awesome. Where would people contact you and find you if they are more interested?
Yeah, like I said, my two books are out on all of the bookseller platforms: Amazon, Apple, Google, Barnes and Noble in the U.S. and North America and whatnot. I do have a website here. I'll hold this up. Thehumaniverse.org. It's a free website, and it's educational in that it was created as...
Could you raise the paper a little higher?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sure. Here we go. Yeah, it's thehumaniverse.org.
Okay.
And it's an educational website that I created in conjunction with finishing up my thesis, so to speak. It's a free website. I don't charge subscriptions. There are no pop-up ads or anything that exist on it. When you go to it, you can purchase either of the books. But it's a catalog database of many thousands of journals, educational, academic journals and articles related to the fields of health, education, technology, and science. So for example, I say a person, say you have an idea, you want to learn something about clocks. You go to my website, you look up a data, that's one click. You look up my database and go to a certain database platform. That's the second click. Type in the search engine clocks, and you'll be directed to articles about clocks, current, archived, whatnot. So it's a library database of many thousands of search engines and libraries with many millions of articles, and it's all free. I'm working in conjunction, exploratory, with my local university to have some of their science departments join me in helping to create more content for this for the website here. So it's educational in nature, but again, you can learn of my books, and also I do have page for my history and upcoming appearances that I do throughout speaking engagements and things like that at ufology conferences and whatnot.
It has been more than amazing case to speaking with you today with this great mentality and these great and new ideas about ourselves as humans and the other universe. I really thank you for your time and for your great input.
And Nour, I thank you for offering me this opportunity to talk with you. And blessed be the technology, because we're in different parts of the world, and that's what I mean. We can learn and create and adapt things, but that's what we should keep doing together.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Case.
Okay, Nour, you have a good one.